All right, strap in, everyone, because we're diving deep into the Women's T20 World Cup today.
Yeah, Sri Lanka and New Zealand, a match that had way more riding on it than just a simple win or loss.
Right, absolutely more to it.
And this is what makes this match so fascinating to unpack. It
Exactly.
was a real pressure cooker for both these sides, each facing a critical juncture in their tournament journey.
Definitely a turning point,
Yeah.
and every single run, every wicket,
Oh, absolutely.
carried the weight of their World Cup dreams.
Huge pressure.
Okay, so let's set the scene here. Sri Lanka, they haven't exactly had the best run so far.
No.
What were they up against coming into this match?
Well, just imagine the weight of expectation when you're the reigning Asia Cup champions.
Right, they've got a title to defend?
Exactly, but here they are at the World Cup, and they haven't secured a single win.
Ouch, that's got to sting.
It does, and you can just sense that desperation for them to prove themselves,
Yeah.
to recapture that winning feeling.
And I imagine their coach's words about needing to salvage some pride
Oh, absolutely.
probably added fuel to that fire.
Definitely added another layer of pressure.
You can practically hear it crackling around them, that pressure.
Yeah.
And then there's Chamari Athapathu, their captain.
Right.
She's been having a bit of a rough time with the bat lately, hasn't she? How did that play into this match?
It's almost poetic in a way, isn't it?
Go on.
Sri Lanka, desperate for a win, the coach's words hanging heavy in the air, and then Athapathu, she finally breaks her streak of low scores. Yeah, suddenly there's this flicker of hope
A glimmer of light.
that maybe, just maybe, she can be the hero they need.
Right. You can practically see the weight lifting off her shoulders with every run.
Absolutely. Those moments of individual brilliance
Yes.
can completely change the momentum of an entire match.
Oh, absolutely. Those moments are electric.
Yeah. And speaking of momentum, let's not forget that Sri Lanka wasn't the only team with a point to prove in this match.
Right. New Zealand came in with their own agenda.
They absolutely did. And this is where things get really interesting, even strategic.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So New Zealand, they needed a big win, but it wasn't just about the win itself.
There's always more to it, isn't there?
Exactly. It's about this little thing called net run rate, or NRR for short.
Okay, so for those of us who haven't quite wrapped our heads around NRR, break it down for us.
Sure.
Why is it such a big deal?
Think of it like this. NRR is like bonus points in a video game.
Okay, I like that.
It rewards teams that don't just win, but win with style.
So it's about how convincingly you win.
Exactly. It encourages aggressive play, pushing teams to rack up those runs quickly and bowl out their opponents decisively.
So it's not enough to just cross the finish line.
Yeah,
It's about how you get there.
precisely.
And how did this whole NRR situation affect New Zealand's approach in this match?
Well, going into this match, they needed to significantly boost their NRR to have a shot at overtaking India in the standings.
High stakes.
Very high stakes, and this is where we see the pressure really playing out on the field.
Right, so you'd expect them to come out all guns blazing,
You wouldn't you?
swinging for the fences from the get-go.
Exactly, but their first few overs were surprisingly cautious.
Really?
Almost like they were more afraid of losing than they were focused on securing a big win.
Playing it safe, trying not to rock the boat.
Almost afraid to rock the boat,
Yeah.
yeah. And then comes this young New Zealand player, Georgia Plimmer.
Right, we were talking about her.
Talk about throwing caution to the wind.
So she starts out kind of mirroring the team's vibe, a bit hesitant, and then,
It's like something clicked.
yeah,
Suddenly she's hitting boundaries like it's nothing.
unleashing.
Running between the wickets like she's got a rocket strapped to her back. And New Zealand's scorecard
Yeah,
starts looking a lot more respectable.
a lot healthier.
Way healthier.
And she pulls this off after facing some criticism lately.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Talk about proving the doubters wrong.
Oh, absolutely silencing those critics.
What was it about her performance that really stood out for you?
Well, I mean, you look at the stat sheet, she walks away with the Player of the Match award.
Right, well-deserved.
Definitely. But it goes beyond the numbers, you know? It was her audacity.
What do you mean?
Remember how we were talking about New Zealand playing safe, almost afraid to take those risks?
Yeah.
Plimmer, she just went for it.
Yeah.
She embodied that fearless aggression that's so crucial in T20 cricket, especially when you're chasing a big NRR boost like they were.
She was like the definition of go big or go home.
Exactly.
But we got to talk about the other side of this, too.
Of course.
Sri Lanka, they had their moments, those what-if moments, you know, the ones that could have flipped this script entirely.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the biggest ones revolves around Georgia Plimmer herself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Picture this: Plimmer's on 31 runs looking dangerous,
Okay.
and then a dropped catch by the Sri Lankan fielder.
No.
Yeah, you could practically hear the collective groan of Sri Lankan fans around the world.
Oh, man. Talk about a heartbreaker.
Right.
It's like what could have been,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly, and it just goes to show how those tiny margins, those little moments, can completely change the course of a match, especially in a format as fast-paced as T20.
Absolutely. A true sliding doors moment.
Textbook example.
It really makes you wonder how often these small incidents have an outsized impact on the game.
All the time, more than you'd think.
Crazy. But back to New Zealand, with Plimmer let off the hook, did they finally loosen up and embrace that aggressive NRR boosting approach?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Did they seize that second chance, or did that NRR pressure continue to loom over every decision?
It's like a puzzle with constantly shifting pieces, trying
Right.
to find the right move.
Exactly, weighing every decision, every shot, every run against that looming NRR.
Gotta mess with your head, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But let's not forget, there's another layer to all of this. New Zealand's fate. It's not entirely in their own hands, is it?
That's right. This is where the tournament takes another turn. Remember, New Zealand's chances of moving on, they don't just depend on their own performance.
Oh, that's right.
They're also at the mercy of the upcoming India versus Australia match.
So they're playing their own game, but also watching the India-Australia match with bated breath.
Absolutely. It's a game of chess on multiple boards.
High-stakes chess.
And to add even more intrigue to all of this,
Oh, there's more.
oh yeah, there's this quote from Sri Lanka's coach after the match, even after their loss.
Okay.
He says, New Zealand came to this World Cup to win it all, not just participate.
Wow. Even in defeat, he recognizes their ambition.
Right, almost like he sees this fire in their eyes, a determination that goes beyond just making it to the semis.
So with all this unfolding, what's the big takeaway, the thought you want to leave our listeners with as we head into the final stretch of the tournament?
Here's what I find so fascinating about all of this match. A match that Sri Lanka ultimately lost could be a turning point not just for New Zealand's World Cup journey,
Okay.
but for Sri Lanka's own narrative in this tournament.
Wait, really?
Yeah. How can a loss be a turning point for Sri Lanka? I thought their World Cup dreams were pretty much dashed. On paper, sure, their chances of making it to the semis are slim,
Right.
but sometimes those tough losses, they teach you more than any victory ever could.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Unpack that for me. How do you see this match potentially shifting things for Sri Lanka?
Well, think about it. They went into this match carrying that weight of the winless streak, their coach's words probably still ringing in their ears.
Yeah, the pressure must have been immense.
Right. But even though they didn't get the W, there were definitely flashes of that championship spirit we know they have.
Right, like their captain, Athapathu,
Exactly.
finding her groove again.
Coming alive at the crease.
Even if she couldn't quite drag them across the finish line this time.
It's about finding those little victories, those moments of brilliance
The sparks.
that can reignite a team's belief in themselves.
Right, because it shows them that they're capable of amazing things.
Exactly. And let's not forget about those what-ifs we talked about.
Oh, the dropped catches, the near misses.
Yeah, as frustrating as they can be in the moment, they can also be incredible motivators.
How so?
Because they highlight just how close they are to turning those losses into wins.
Right, that they're right there on the edge of something great.
Exactly. It's all about perspective, isn't it? Instead of seeing this loss as the end of their World Cup journey,
Yeah.
they could choose to see it as the beginning of a whole new chapter.
A chapter where they're playing with a sense of freedom, right?
Totally.
No longer weighed down by the pressure of expectations.
They can just go out there, swing for the fences, play their natural aggressive style.
With nothing to lose.
Exactly. And who knows, they might just surprise themselves.
Shake things up a bit.
Maybe even rattle some of those other teams still fighting for a spot in the semis.
Now, wouldn't that be something? It just goes to show that in this tournament, every single match can rewrite the script.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just for the teams involved, but for the entire tournament's narrative.
And that's what makes this match and this entire tournament so captivating, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not about the final score,
It's about the stories within the story.
The journeys, the lessons learned, the moments of brilliance, and yeah, even the what-ifs.
The moments that make you hold your breath.
Exactly. The ones that stay with you long after that final whistle blows.
Well, it's certainly been a wild ride so far, and it sounds like we're in for even more twists and turns as the tournament unfolds.
Buckle up, because it's only going to get more intense from here.
That's for sure. All right, everyone, that wraps up our deep dive into this thrilling Sri Lanka versus New Zealand match at the Women's T20 World Cup.
A match that reminds us that sometimes A loss can be the catalyst for an even greater comeback.
So much truth to that. And who knows, maybe we'll be talking about Sri Lanka again very soon.
Stranger things have happened in this tournament.
They certainly have. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll be back soon with more analysis, insights, and of course, those edge-of-your-seat moments that make this tournament so unforgettable. Until then, keep those scorecards handy and get ready for more cricketing action.